Be sure to subscribe for more content.
What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to the BigBC Finance Channel, and I hope you're having a very lovely day. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about Luna Classic, what has happened to it recently, and where we think the price is going to go to in the near future, with some key price levels and some trades I'm looking to make. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. And of course, if you appreciate the daily analysis on this channel and you're one of the 86% of people that watch my videos that have not yet subscribed, be sure to hit the subscribe button. So without further ado, let's get those annotations back on the screen and let's just talk about what has happened over the past days. So basically, what we have seen over the past day is the price head towards our orange line, this orange resistance here, this well-respected one, and we've actually managed to dump this whole amount. And I'm going to talk about this because this is quite important. We've seen the price go down nearly 8% there from touching this orange line here. And although that price move is bearish, this is actually quite a good sign for the bigger picture here on Luna Classic, because this shows that this orange line here is well respected in the sense that we saw the price literally come to touch it most recently in this region here, and as soon as it touched it, the prices came back down and just shot downwards in a very bearish direction. We see a lot of momentum and everything as well, and of course we know for a fact now that this resistance is a very well respected one. So in the future, when we do come to cross it, and we're going to have to cross it at some point, we're going to see a massive price move because it's been so well respected in this region here. Of course, we can have a look at this peak. If you have a look at this peak as well, we had a very similar story. Price shot down again, not as much as it did most recently here, but again, you can see the momentum in the downwards direction is quite substantial. So this is a really good sign in the sense that when the price comes to touch it, so if we do something like this in the future and we encounter this orange line once again and we do start to cross it, then we should see a lot of momentum and volume pushing the prices in the upwards direction. It's basically like a magnet that repels each other. Imagine two magnets with the same side, the south and the south side, and basically they're coming together, they're repelling each other. But of course, if you put the magnets close enough, you can imagine the amount of force and momentum that the magnets are pushing against each other as soon as they're close together. So if the price does peak above, we've got that same momentum pushing the price down, now able to push the price up. And so that's the kind of analogy that I'm going with here, and that's why it's good to see something like this on Luna Classic. So that's my first observation here right now. Of course, we're looking, of course, on the smaller time frame, I'm observing some sort of bottom that's happening here. We've got the price come down to the same level in this region and shoot quickly back up. So it looks like we have something cooking up with respect to this support line here. But in terms of a chart pattern from this, it doesn't look like there's all too much. Obviously, this could be some sort of double bottom because the price has come to touch the same level twice, but we don't really have a well-defined neckline above. So it doesn't look like we're forming any sort of double bottom here. On top of that as well, I do think we're particularly close for Luna Classic to make some sort of major move in the near future on a larger time frame. And this is because at the moment, the price is kind of bound between this purple line at the bottom and the orange line at the top. And for the next few days, we could just see the prices range within this small area here. But the moment we see some sort of breakout, I do think it's going to be massive because of this larger triangle at play. So if I go on the 4-hour chart where you guys might be able to see that better, basically we have this long-term resistance here on Luna. This has been in place since the 10th of November. So very well respected resistance here. And we have our support in purple, and this purple support has been in play on Luna Classic since its inception back in June. So this is extremely well respected, and I'm particularly excited about this because, of course, what we've seen the previous two times the prices come close to this purple line is we've seen the prices jet up soon after. So if history were to repeat itself, we should see the prices at some point in the near future, and I'm talking literally by the end of this week, we should see the prices make its mind up. And if history repeats itself, we should see the prices start to soar up like this. Of course, we do have an initial price target of this We do have an initial price target here of around 23.2 cents, and that just stems from this triangle that we're seeing here. First test of support and resistance, and if we drag the price to where it breaks out, you can see that the price target there actually slightly lower, 21.8 cents. So that's if we break out at the end of the week. If we break out today or tomorrow, for example, you can see that the price target dynamically adjusts, so 22.4 cents if we break out from here. But And so that's what I'm looking for if we break through this orange line with an increase in volume. As you can see down here, the volume indicator goes up. If we see a lot of momentum, so large green candles take the price upwards, then I'd be expecting that price target to be hit at 22.4 cents. But of course, we do want to be patient, because if we have a look at the previous two times, if we look at the most recent time, for example, we can see that it actually took several weeks to see the majority of the game. So if you just held for a few days after bouncing up from that purple line, we would have got a 59% trade, which is still absolutely amazing. But if we were held on for a little bit longer, if we did exhibit some patience, we could have topped it off at around 580%. Of course, we wouldn't have known at the time that it was going to go that high, but what I'm saying is don't expect a massive gain here over the first few days. Maybe we have to be a little bit more patient in order to see the majority of the returns from this trade here. So that's, again, if history repeats itself. I just want to emphasize that, because with a triangle we could also see the alternative scenario, and the alternative scenario is that we break down from this triangle here. The triangle can also have price target in the downwards direction, the first test of support and resistance, and if we just drag that measuring tool, it actually takes the price pretty low here on Luna Classic, down to around 8.5 cents. And if we zoom out, that's actually about the same price it was before the pump that we had in September. So if this happens, that is a 44% drop down to the 8.5 cents region. So this is another possibility stemming from this triangle. Both scenarios are possible, and with all things considered, it's very difficult to say which way it's going to go. Like I say, if history does repeat itself, we should see it go up. But having a look at just the economy and what Bitcoin is doing, I'm a little bit concerned about Bitcoin making another move down. And I do think we're seeing, and of course, as you guys know, if we see a move down here on Bitcoin, so if we see something like this, where Bitcoin prices head down to where I anticipate the price target to be at around the 12,000s, then we're going to see probably a bearish bias here on Luna Classic, and we could probably see the Luna Classic price go down to this 8.5 cents region down here. And of course, just looking at Bitcoin right now and just doing the technical analysis on Bitcoin, it does seem like this could be some sort of bear flag, and the bear flag is a temporary pause in the trend. So we've obviously seen this mega downtrend with that FTX fallout. We've seen the prices consolidate in a pattern like this. Not too much has been happening in terms of price, but at some point, if we do see this bear flag, we should see prices break below this bottom trend line here, and we could see a price target on Bitcoin of 12,800. And to back this theory up, we're going to use the if history repeats itself again, and we saw something very similar in this region. It wasn't quite a bear flag since the trend lines came in together, but we saw a tradable pattern here. We saw a breakdown from that tradable pattern, and it seems like what we're seeing right now is very similar to the vibe that we had back in May over there when Bitcoin was at 30,000. So if it does play out, then we should hit 12,500 on Bitcoin. I do think that will be the local low. But of course, if that happens, then it's going to be a lot easier for Luna Classic to be bearish. And I will be bearish on Luna Classic if Bitcoin breaks below the 16,000 level, which it looks likely to do so. So just bear that in mind. Of course, we could actually construe the pattern in different ways as well. Of course, we can also construe this price data in a different way. So what we can also do, although it's not perfect, is draw some sort of triangle that looks like this. So I've shown you what the bear flag I've shown you that bear flag, but we could also potentially be seeing some sort of triangle here on Bitcoin. The implication of it would be very similar. If we do break down from that triangle, we should see a negative price. We should see a price target in the 13,000s rather than 12,800. Let's just double check. 14,400 actually would be the price target from a triangle that looks like this. But with a triangle, we can also see a pump to the upside as well. So if we do break above this resistance on Bitcoin, we could see 18,500. So if we construe this price data on Bitcoin like this, then it does have a positive target as well as a negative one. So we could see a breakout in either direction. But if we construe it as a bear flag, it's always going to have a bearish outcome if it is respected. So the best thing you can do, in my personal opinion, for your investment in Luna is just to look at what other people are saying. So I'm obviously just one person, but go on Twitter, have a look at what other people are saying, where they predict the price of Luna to go to, where they predict the price of Bitcoin to go to, and just make your mind up for yourself what you think you are seeing here on Bitcoin. Because like I say, chart patterns are never perfect and it can be construed in multiple ways. If this is a bear flag, then we're going to go down to 12,800 if we do break below the purple line, this purple trend line here. If it is a triangle like this, then we could see a price target of 18,500 or 14,400. And the outcome of what Bitcoin does in the near future will have a massive effect on what Luna Classic does, as well as the whole cryptocurrency market. So again, if you are invested in other cryptocurrencies, then what Bitcoin does will also affect those as well. So in summary, I do think things are going to happen fairly swiftly here on Luna Classic. Over the next few days, it's going to be make or break on Luna Classic. Because of this triangle that we are seeing, we could see a breakout to the upside that would take us to around 22.4, 22.5 cents, or we could have a breakout to the downside, which would take us to 8.5 cents here on Luna Classic. And basically what will influence that is what Bitcoin will do in the near future. Are we going to see a breakdown from this triangle? Are we going to see a breakdown from the bear flag? And for that, we want to keep our eyes on what is happening with the price here. If we see prices break down below this purple line here right now, then we could see a price target of 14,400 if it is respected. Of course, again, we want to see large momentum in the downwards direction. We want to see a lot of volume to kind of validate that for us. But otherwise, we could be seeing something like this, like more of a bear flag. And if we do see this bear flag, then as soon as we break below this 15,300 level, so prices have to come down here first, and what they need to do is break below this 15,300 level. And if they do that, then 12,800 is the next price target on Bitcoin. And for Luna Classic, that's probably going to equate to this breaking out of the triangle to the downside. And additionally to that, we're seeing some similar patterns across other altcoins as well. Ethereum, for example, we can see some similar chart pattern happening here. We saw a massive drop, that FTX fallout. We've seen this price consolidate in a sort of triangle or bear flag, depending on how you construe it, type of pattern. And of course, it's following pretty much what Bitcoin is doing. And so really, it's just all eyes on Bitcoin and what it does over the course of this week. Again, we've got the stock market open. Of course, the stock market has a big effect on what Bitcoin is doing. And it looks like if we go on the stock market here, then we can see this is the S&P, and basically this is the American stock market. We can see that the price has completed its bear rally pretty much. It's hit this 200-day moving average, a very important one here for the stocks. So you can see back in August, we hit this 200-day moving average before going back down again. So we're definitely seeing something like that in this region too. And if so, we could see the prices continue to head downwards here on the stock market. And of course, if that happens, that's going to add a negative bias onto Bitcoin. So although it doesn't make it impossible to pump, it's going to make it a lot easier for it to go in the downwards direction, particularly if the S&P heads in this downwards direction towards the 3,400 region. So I'm really observing what this is doing here right now, the S&P 500, because basically if we continue down on here, we're going to continue down on Bitcoin, and therefore we're probably going to break down from this triangle here on Luna Classic as well. So definitely something to observe what the stock market is doing. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say in this video. So thank you so much for watching. Do let me know in the comments whether you're holding any Luna Classic or not. But otherwise, thank you for watching again, and I'll see you in my next video.